Hello and welcome back to another video by me, FoxyNoTail, here in my Bedrock Edition Survival Realm. And today, I've got a fun day for you today. We're going to be playing in my ideas world. But before we do, let's just hop down here and look at what has gone on here. Levers. Do you know, in the last couple of videos, I've been doing redstone and I go, where's my levers? Where's all my levers gone? Well, it looks like I've found them all. No, thankfully, Val had he said I needed, as you said, you needed levers from Val, and also tons of hay bales and seeds, which is amazing. So obviously today I'm going to be building a wheat farm. Now I've got tons of wheat already. I don't need to. No, I'm still going to be building a wheat farm, but I'm not going to be building a ginormous one. You know, like the ones with loads and loads of tiers and you run water down it and then you spend forever regrowing it. No. I've got a really good idea for a micro farm, which will be AFK-able, which is going to be amazing. So we're going to go into my ideas world in a minute once I've tidied up these levers, and we're going to go start. I'm working on some designs for a micro wheat farm, which is going to be awesome. And yay, we don't have to muck about with villagers. Hurrah! Here we are in my ideas world, and it's starting to look a little bit full, this place. When I first started, I was thinking, God, this is never... How does anyone ever have one of those ideas worlds that's just got tons and tons of stuff going on? And now I'm one of those people. It's not massive. Okay, before I start working on this thing, the first thing I've done is made myself a standard build kit, because basically when I start working in my ideas world, the first thing I do is go in the creative inventory and I have to search for everything and get a stack of it in my inventory, and it's pretty annoying doing that because on the Bedrock Edition, I can't just like click a block and then get another stack of it like I can in Java. But what I can do, if I hold the control button down on my keyboard and middle click this shulker box, I get an exact copy of it in my inventory. So now I can come over here, I can middle click and I can get it and I can take that wherever I want to go, and then I've got access to everything. I don't need to go through my inventory, which is really handy. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you because it's a really sort of quick way of doing that. The same thing with this. I've got a shulker box full of seeds. If I ever need that again, I just control and middle click that. I am on the Windows 10 version of the game, so I've got an advantage there. And then I've got another box full of seeds whenever I want them. I've done that before with things like bone meal and stuff like that, but I don't know where they will be. But yeah, I thought I'd do that today for this because that's going to be really handy. Okay then, so this is the theory. I've got a tilled dirt block there. I'm going to get some wheat on there. It's going to grow, and then the piston is going to push up. The tilled dirt won't change block state because it's Bedrock Edition, and it doesn't. The wheat pops off, and we need some hoppers around it to collect it. The problem is we're going to need dispensers, 3 of them, around it also to actually make this work. So I've got a system up here that I've been working on, which is a bit of a big contraption. The only thing this doesn't have so far is the piston underneath the tilled dirt. Otherwise, this is fine. So what we've got here, we've got a dropper elevator which pushes seeds up. The seeds come out here when the player basically stands here, a bit like in my cocoa bean farm, and they'll keep getting seeds given to them. There's a sorter here, so we get wheat in this chest and seeds will go in down that line there. And all this is basically a clock that blocks the hopper off that you're standing on, so that when you're standing on it, you get the seeds and then it unlocks. So if you've got a full inventory, they will then go back through the system. Over here, we've got another clock, which is just basically firing these dispensers. But at the moment, there's nothing to actually break the wheat. So we can break it ourselves and plant it, but it's a bit pointless at the moment. So yeah, we need to automate that tilled soil going up and down, but that's going to be really difficult because there's a lot going on around here. We've got hoppers underneath, we've got all sorts. So I'm going to have to come up, I'm going to have to scratch my brain, scratch my head, and yeah, think about what we can do here. Well, I definitely think I'm onto something here, but it's not ever so quick. That block isn't going as fast as I'd like. But that's just a case of timing. So the rest of the system's not in place. It's literally just a clock with some dispensers and a bit of tilled dirt. But that's doing the job. That's doing what we want. There's no way of collecting the wheat yet. I suppose if the player stood next to it, you'll get it in your inventory. But other than that, yeah, it's not perfect, but we're getting there. Well, it's not really a micro farm, is it? It's pretty big, but this should, I believe, should do the job. Let's grab ourselves some seeds. Let's turn it on. Let's see what happens. So I just have to stand on this hopper here and basically just click onto that tilled dirt there, and it should do exactly what we want it to do. The seeds should go through the system and they should come back through up here, I think. Yeah, there we go. Look, we're getting them back through. That's good. And the wheat should go in the chest below. if I've done it right. So this is not particularly fast, but it's AFKable because you could just leave it on. So the wheat's going in that chest, and this is ticking around. We're getting the seeds going through there. That's working really nicely. It's massive. It's absolutely massive, but it works. I bet someone's already come up with something that works even better than this. I don't know. I didn't bother to check online first because I'm a bit daft like that. Yeah, let's do a test then to see how much wheat we actually get from this in a few minutes. So I'll do a 2-minute test, or a 5-minute test maybe, and we'll see what we get. I'm going to have to empty the whole thing out first. Okay, I'm going to start with exactly 1 stack of seeds in my inventory. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to come stand round here like this. Can I get in the hole? No, because I'm in creative mode. There we go. Right, and I'm just going to hold down the click button in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Stop. There we go. That's 2 minutes exactly. Let's turn that clock off. And let's see what we got. I've got a stack and a bit in my inventory. So I obviously picking some up myself, which I did expect to. But once my inventory's full, it will go into that hopper there if it falls on me. Because, well, just because of how the system works. Having said that, I might need to reroute that. Because that's if any wheat falls in there, that's just going to go round this loop. And we don't want wheat in this loop. We only want seeds in that loop. So I might have to jig that about a bit. But let's have a look in the chest. What did we get? 34 pieces. Is that it? A stack and a half in 2 minutes. Yeah, it's not great, is it? It'd be nice if I could speed it up. But if I put a dispenser above the tilled dirt will break. Because as soon as anything touches the top of that block, it will turn back into just normal dirt, which will ruin it. So I originally had the 3rd dispenser above it. If I put a dispenser there... Why can't I have a... Oh, yeah, because the hopper minecart will take all the stuff out of it. So, yeah. There's nowhere to put a hopper. That's the problem. Those hoppers have to be there to pick up the stuff so that it doesn't... Obviously, if it just falls on top of there, it's not going to go anywhere. We're sort of hoping that it's going to fall somewhere along the side and either go in one of the hoppers. The hopper minecart, yeah, there you see, look, it sucks it up from that side. So as long as it's not too far to that side, it will suck it up. So it's not 100% efficient, but it's not too bad. I'm going to fiddle with it a bit longer and see if I can come up with anything that's slightly better. We're on the right track. It's a bit of a big beast, but before I do, I'm going to flick online and have a quick look through YouTube and see what everyone else has come up with, because no doubt someone's got like a 1 block wide tileable design that uses a dispenser and that's it. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to have a look. Darn you, Silent Whisper. Okay, so basically on Silent Whisper's channel, he's got this contraption. He didn't have the hoppers with the bone meal blocks on. I've just added those to fill up the dispensers. And it's a very, very tiny weenie. Basically, little one of them that I've got. The only difference with this is obviously it's not an AFK one or properly AFK one because it doesn't keep refilling your inventory with the stuff. So we do need something under here to catch everything and then feed it back through to us. But in terms of an actual design that just, grows the wheat and lets you harvest it, it's very quick. But you can see sometimes it's not actually growing the wheat. So it's not 100%, I don't think. In my opinion, it's not 100% great there. I wonder if we can muck about with those repeater timings, though, to get that better. It's like we need a delay after the observer's actually seen it to when it harvests. But the thing is, the observer's directly on top of the piston. So I don't think that's... What's actually firing the piston? I don't know. I don't know if there's a way we can deal with that or not. Or whether we'll just have to occasionally lose a bit of wheat. Yeah, that does affect it. But it's just going to be slow, isn't it? If we muck about with that. So, that's better. It does grow most of the time. In fact, now that I'm doing it from here, it's growing every time. So maybe it's just like a timing thing from when I'm actually placing the wheat. Anyway, yeah. So, but I didn't really want to credit Silent Whisper because I'm not bitter or anything. But he recently did, my amazing Guardian farm that I made? He watched my video, he wrote a comment on my video, and then he put out his own video with almost exactly the same design and claimed it was his. Someone pointed out in the comment that he didn't credit me, and he's like, oh no, I came up with the design myself. And I'm like, I don't think you did. So it was only a couple of days before you told me how good my design was on my video. So yeah, if he's not going to credit people, then yeah, well, I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm not bitter, honest. No, I don't mind really. But yeah, I don't know whether it's his design or not. He didn't actually say on his video whether it was his design or not. So considering he copied my Guardian design and said it was his own, I'm guessing this probably wasn't his own either. But I'm not going to say things like that. Well, I just did, didn't I? I'm not going to suggest things like that because that's a little bit naughty and a little bit hateful. I'm sure he came up with this design himself, and I'm sure he did have some really good ideas with the Guardian farm that I made and made it his own. So yeah, I'm only kidding. I'm only messing about. So what we need to do is steal Silent Whisper's design. I'll modify it slightly so that it is truly AFKable, and then claim it's completely my own. Well, this is weird. I've made exactly the same thing, but up here, floating in the air, and now it doesn't work. I don't know, maybe it's over a chunk boundary or something like that, but look, none of the wheat's growing at all like this, so I wonder why that is. Let's just flick that back a notch, and then it works, but it's not very fast. You can see there's no rhythm. It's like the timing's all out, which is really strange. On this one, it's got a nice rhythm to it. It just tick-tocks. It doesn't always grow, but it does tick-tock. Does that make sense? But on this one, it doesn't. Let's put that back to exactly the same as the other one, and there's no tick-tock. I wonder if that's because I'm floating rather than stood on the ground. Let's see if standing on the ground helps. No, it doesn't. That's really weird. I bet there's a chunk boundary here. I'm going to figure it out if there is. And the way I do that is very simple. I just make a little flashing redstone lamp and I just go back until it stops. Now, my simulation distance is on 4 chunks, which means that I will be at a chunk boundary, which is exactly 4 chunks away when that stops flashing. So there we go. Stop flashing. Let's find the exact point where it stops flashing. We need the exact block. There we go. It's flashing there. It stops there. So I'm in this block. It stopped flashing. And it's working in that one. So that there is a chunk boundary. That's one chunk going that way, and this is another chunk going that way. So that line there is a chunk boundary. Each chunk is 16 blocks, so I just need to go back 64 blocks, and I'll know exactly where the chunk boundary is. Now, I could use the coordinates and do maths, but I like counting. Or we could literally use redstone, because redstone travels like, 15 blocks, I think? So I could just use like a trail of redstone and put a torch in front of it, and when the torch runs out, I guess that's probably around about 16 blocks, although the repeater would have to be in this chunk, wouldn't it? I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Like that. Would that work? So that's suggesting that that's the end of the chunk there. Let's find out if that is the end of the chunk there. Whoa. And we'll do some counting. 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, it was. Oh, good. So we can use this method for finding chunk boundaries. We just need to wait till the redstone runs out. That's good. That means I don't even have to count. That's so much better. Oh, good. I don't like counting. Well, it's perfectly within a chunk that way. And in fact, that one's not. That one actually does go over a chunk boundary. This is the chunk boundary line there. That one actually goes over it. So what about the other way? Let's try and find out if there's a chunk boundary the other way then. Right, there's the other chunk boundary then. So no, that thing is exactly within a chunk. And again, this one isn't. That line there is where the chunk stops. So that's bizarre. I don't understand it. Maybe it's an orientation thing. Maybe it's just where it is in the world. I've built it exactly the same, block for block. It is no different whatsoever. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm going to try build it the other way round, facing the other way, and see if it works any differently. That's weird. All right, then we've got exactly the same thing over here. Let's see what happens this time. Why? Why is it not tick-tocking up here? I don't get it. There's not even... Well, I was going to say it's not growing, but that's because I don't have any bonemeal in the dispensers. We can soon sort that out, though. So it doesn't grow, and it doesn't follow a pattern when you have it in the air. When you've got it on the ground down there, it's fine. That's so strange. Maybe it needs building over a chunk boundary in order to work properly. That's really weird. You've got a dodgy design, Silent Whisper. Why does that work? Why does that one work perfectly well, but the other one doesn't? It doesn't make sense. It's exactly the same thing. That's so annoying. Got a rubbish design. Right, okay, forgetting Silent Whisper's amazingly compact yet slightly dodgy design, I've come up with one that's a little bit more, well, at the moment it's quite slow, but the timing is a lot more accurate. So it's very big, it needs compacting, don't worry about that. But if I turn it on, you can hear the tick-tock when this works. So let's put this on here. So it's tick-tocking very nicely. It's working very well. The wheat always fully grows and it gets broken every time. It's a bit messy. The wheat's going everywhere, but we're getting a nice tick-tock. Now, I think we could probably speed this up, but I don't know how quick we can speed it up. I think that's going to be too fast. We need to get the timing just right for this because it's a bit... There we go, look. So we can get that very fast like that. That's pretty good. That's going well. But then it goes off. This is Bedrock for you. Bedrock Edition, whether it's observers or repeaters, there's something weird with observer redstone timings or Bedrock redstone timings that's just not 100%. I mean, we're using an observer to see when that block moves, but the observers are just so buggy in this edition of the game. I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to take the observers out just so that... yeah, we can really try and get this timing just right. Well, that seems to be a lot more stable. I've taken the observer out of the equation. I've just using redstone timings themselves, and it's exactly the same speed. It's growing fully every single time and never missing, and it's a lot more regular. So we might need a slightly bigger machine in order to make it more efficient, but over time that just means it's going to work. It's going to work if it's particularly laggy on the server. It's going to work. Yeah, it's just going to work. It's going to be better. See, Silent Whisper's design's nice, but I'm thinking, how can we actually use this in a way where we're going to catch the wheat properly? Because there's nowhere for it to go other than in the player's inventory. Now, I want a system where the wheat's actually going to fall into a system and be collected. You see how a lot of that was sort of hidden at the back there? If we stand right next to it, we can get it, but it's going to go in our inventory. Now, I don't want it in our inventory because then that's not very AFKable. We can only fill up an inventory's full worth. I want to be able to fill up chests and chests worth. So, yeah, and look, there's still some left in there as well. So it's not ideal having the dispenser, or sorry, having the piston coming out in front of you. If you have it going up and down, yeah, you need a bigger system, but you've actually got places then you can put the hoppers and things where it's going to get collected nearly every time. If we've got a hopper minecart in front and behind this thing, it's always going to catch the wheat and the seeds. It's never going to miss anything. Let's just do a quick test and see how much stuff we get after a couple of minutes, and then we'll see whether it's worth it. 3, 2, 1, and finish. Right, we're going to have to go around and collect all the bits that's fallen down, but I don't think we did too badly there. Now, I did clear the floor up before we started that, so all that's from that particular test. You can see just how many hoppers we're going to need around this thing to collect it all. But look, we got 2 and a bit stacks of wheat, which isn't bad. Now, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to use Silent Whisper's dodgy design. Sorry, I keep calling it dodgy design. I'm going to use the not dodgy one and see what we get from this. Let's just make sure we've got plenty of stuff in the dispensers. We do, that's good. Right, yeah, I'm going to clear my inventory again. I'm going to get a stack of seeds, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. 3, 2, 1, stop. What do we get? We got nearly 2 stacks, so less than mine. Although it's technically quicker, the timing's off, and that is probably because I'm on a realm rather than a single-player world. It probably is quicker to use this on a single-player world, but we're on a realm. We're going to be building it on a realm, so it needs to be realm safe. So, yeah, this little design here, that is a bit bigger than Silent Whisper's design, is more stable, and we get more wheat back from it. So it just goes to show you that just a little bit of a glitch in the timing, just because of, using observers, can be the difference between a stack of wheat. So, yeah, we're going to go with this one. And now I've got to make it look like this, like with hoppers everywhere and stuff. Oh, man, it's going to take forever. I know this is technically exactly the same as my my cocoa bean one, which is pretty compact. This is my cocoa bean automatic farm, but it's not, because it needs 3 dispensers to fully grow, and it needs a water source in there for the tilled dirt, and you've got to place it on top. So it's not easy to get it the same as this. Now, this is a really funky, lovely little design. It works really well, but I don't know how I would make this work like that. Could I adapt it? Could I make that work the same way? It's so compact. Well, I've managed to adapt the cocoa bean farm into the wheat farm, which seems to be working pretty well. It's growing, but I don't know what's happening to the wheat. I don't know where the wheat's going. The other problem with this farm, let's just turn it off because it's very noisy. The other problem with this farm is, oh, there it's all going down there, look. Yeah, it's not ideal, really. I was going to say the other problem is that the wheat will actually go through the system as well as the seeds. So this AFK bit here, the idea is you stand AFK here, and on the cocoa bean farm, it will keep passing you cocoa beans. It's going to pass you wheat and seeds because there's no sorting system on it. So not only have we got the issue that the wheat and the seeds are making their way inside the machine, which isn't ideal, yeah, it's not going to give us the right AFK thing. But in terms of actually running, it's fine, although it does keep... The tilled dirt keeps losing itself, even though it's got a water source nearby. It's, I think it's too quick, but it grows okay, and the timing's all right. So it's just a case of improving it, really. I don't know whether I prefer this one or the one we had over there. This seems faster, to be fair. I've no idea if this is going to work or not. I think we're still going to lose a lot of the stuff, but I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to give it a try. I've got a stack of seeds in my inventory again, and I'm not going to do a 2-minute test. I'm just going to run it and see how much stuff we get falling on the floor. Now let's turn it off. Tons. Most of it, I would say, has gone on the floor. We've got a little bit in these droppers and hoppers. Not much. Have we got any in that hopper? No. Any in the chest? Not really, and not much around there. Yeah, most of it's gone on the floor. So this idea is a nice idea. It's nice and compact, and it's very quick, and it's very efficient because it actually grows it every single time. But it's yeah, it's not going to work because it doesn't sort out the wheat, it doesn't sort out the seeds, and it drops everything on the floor. So this is no good, sadly. Big cross on that one. So that's going to bring us back to this design that we were at, oh man, about half an hour ago. Oh man, I've got to do it all again now. Hooray, joy. Okay, things are moving on slowly but surely. I have come up with a more compact-ish design that is completely lossless. We don't lose any wheat at all with this, and it's still relatively quick. Now, it still doesn't give you the wheat or the seeds back. It's not AFKable yet, but it's basically these designs that we had before, but done in a way that it doesn't drop any wheat. And basically, we have to actually surround that dirt block or the tilled dirt 2 blocks down all the way round. If I move either of those, then we end up with wheat and seeds down here because they slip through the piston and through the dirt block as well, which isn't ideal. So we've got a little chest here. We've got some hoppers basically running around both sides. And in this hopper's actually waterlogged. So this hopper is keeping that tilled dirt wet whilst also catching some of the stuff that falls. And there's also, I don't know if you could just see in there, there's a hopper minecart as well, which is picking up some of the stuff that falls around the side. There's a couple of observers here. We are using observers, but it doesn't seem to matter too much for the timing on this because this is just activating the dispensers. So when we flick that on, I just have to aim at the side underneath that dispenser there, and then it runs. And that's pretty good. That's relatively quick. It's not too slow. Right, what I've done now is I've taken that and I've basically minimized it as much as possible so that it's still completely lossless, but it's smaller. And I've also color-coded it so we know what's going on. Having said that, I've just noticed there's a piece of there's still... How? How is it possible they're still doing that? That's so annoying. Oh, man. Right, anyway, so it's not lossless. Yeah, so you basically just run it like that, and it should all go through into the hopper minecart and into the hoppers, but somehow some of it's still managing to get inside there. Where's it getting inside of? It's getting stuck inside something, obviously. I've done it! At long last, I've finally done it, and it works, and it doesn't drop anything, and it doesn't use half the rubbish that we had going on before, and it's a bit smaller. It's still not very small, but it's a bit smaller. So let me talk you through what's going on. So I've gone back to Silent Whisper's horizontal piston design, which is like this, but I've adjusted it in a way where we've got the water right next to it and we've got a better timing system so it doesn't ever miss. So if I sit and run this now and I aim at that piston at the back and just click, and just hold the mouse button down, you can see it always grows. There's never a timing issue. It doesn't ever trip over itself, and you've got that permanent tick-tock, which is good. So that's basically because we're relying on a redstone torch as well as an observer, and that just seems to make the timing a bit more stable. So then underneath that, we've got 2 hopper minecarts, which are taking all of the items that drop through these. And because those hopper minecarts are still on rails, they're technically pushed up, which means they can pull items all the way from the top. If they are dropped off the rails, they can't then reach all the way through. So I don't need loads of hoppers all the way around the outsides now. I can just use those 2 under there, and they've got the one underneath this one. Now, I don't really need this one here either. I could probably get away with taking that out, but it works. So I'm going to leave it for now. And then they run through into this. So we've got our sorter, which then puts our... Oh, what have we got going on? So the hopper line comes around like this. This is like an overflow chest. So anything that doesn't have time to feed through will go into there. And you can see there's some seeds in there. We've got one side of this will drop wheat in. And that will go into these 2 chests here. So we've got room for 2 double chests of wheat, and the other side will do our seeds. And again, we've got the overflow protection here. So if the dropper ever gets full at the bottom, the seeds won't back up through the system. They'll go into this chest instead. So that's how that's all working. Having said that, that needs to be on 4 ticks like that. So that's it working. So if I just get rid of those seeds there, let's just grab a stack of seeds. Let's hop up here. Let's go into survival like that. And I flick this thing on. Hopefully this is going to work. So all I do is aim at the piston at the back and just hold the click button so that I'm planting them, and they should start coming around and going back in my inventory. Can you see they are doing? My inventory is ticking up, and I should end up with more seeds in my inventory than I started with. But the good thing is if I don't pick them up, they will fire through. Oh, I can't see it because I'm in creative mode. Yeah, if I move out the way, look, they're going into the hoppers. So they're never going to get stuck. They'll either go into this hopper here, which will then feed back through there, or they'll go onto the grass. Sometimes they end up on this block, but I could quite easily just put those there and stop that from happening. And then we've got a perfectly good system. So again, let's go back into survival. Let's click on that piston at the back, and you'll see that, yeah, I'll never run out of seeds this way. The wheat is going in the chest that I want the wheat in. The seeds are going into my inventory and then in the overflow chest, and everything should work out pretty well. Right, all the chests are completely empty. I'm in survival mode. I've got exactly 1 stack of seeds. I'm going to click go, and then I'm going to count down from 5, and then there we go. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, stopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Let's turn it off and let's see what we got. So I got nearly another stack of them in my inventory from that. Let's just go back into creative mode so we don't fall down. In there, we got another 6 seeds there. Let's have a look in these chests. In the overflow chest, we got some rail. Oh, it looks like that rail's been broken then by the system. That's not ever so good, but it doesn't seem to have caused a problem. But that's interesting that that rail's got broken. I guess that's to do with the piston, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, overflow chest, we've got another 44 seeds there. And in our dropper, have we got any? No. And what about in this overflow chest here? Nothing in there. That's good. We shouldn't have anything in there. And then our chest then, what have we got? Oh, it's still coming through. Still coming through into that top one and into the bottom one there. Let's wait for it and see what we've got. So it was like 2 1/4 stacks to beat from our previous test, wasn't it? And there we go, already beat that. Let's see how much we get in total. There we go, that's finally finished, and we got a nearly 3 stacks, so almost 3 stacks. So that's because the timing's more efficient and the actual collection's more efficient. We're not losing anything. So all of the designs we've looked at so far today, including the Silent Whisper one, are all not 100% lossless. Silent Whispers, the stuff gets stuck on the back there and you don't pick it up. So if you're AFK in there a long time, it'll run out. My designs, it was all falling through the middles. So finally we got to this one over here. It's completely 100% lossless and we get a better return because our timing is better. So there we go. That'll do me for today. I'm not going to build it in my survival world today because I've spent hours doing this. I'm going to do that in the next episode. So hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you did, do please leave a like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!